Will there be a train on the moon? We got that and a lot more to talk about today, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, here we go from MSN. U.S. Moonlander permanently asleep after historic landing. An uncrewed American lander that became the first private spaceship on the moon has met its ultimate end after failing to wake up, the company that built it said. I'll let you read the rest of the article at your leisure. Is it really dead, or are they just telling us it's dead because they don't want us to see the alien structures and maybe the aliens that are on the moon? Or is it actually just dead? It's probably just dead, but who knows? Either way, don't tell that to DARPA, because all aboard the moon train, DARPA is trying to figure out how to build a lunar railroad. What? Again, this is from MSN. Astronauts may one day be able to hop on a train to travel the moon's surface. DARPA, the U.S. Defense Department's secretive research agency, has been tasked with figuring out how to support astronauts who could soon be living on the moon for extended periods. The plans are highly hypothetical. There are currently no permanent structures on the moon at all. Well, except for the alien structures on the moon, and no people have been there since 1972. But the U.S. and other nations want to get people on the moon once again, and that would require futuristic infrastructure to provide reliable power, comms, and transport. As part of this mission, DARPA tasked U.S. aerospace and defense tech firm Northrop Grumman to develop a concept for a lunar railway. If realized, this railroad could transport people, supplies, and commercial cargo on the moon. That's wild. And thank you, Dennis, for the heads up on this story. It's definitely a juicy story. Can you imagine taking a train ride on the moon? What a surreal experience that would be. Taking a train ride past all the alien ruins and maybe active structures on the moon. Meanwhile, James Fox says, I am in the edit room working on the last 7 minutes, rough cut, of my new documentary, The Program, and wanted to share a brief statement from Representative Tim Burchett as he and a handful of others continue to fight for government transparency on UFOs. All right, let's see what you got, James and Tim.
Certain unacknowledged special access programs appear to be operating outside congressional oversight, including the Gang of Eight. What are we doing about this? Is this allowed under the Constitution?
I don't know if it's allowed or not until we slap their little fat hand. Congress needs to, though, assert their role as the country's checkbook or government's checkbook and start looking at these departments that are withholding things and just run a red line through them. Just get rid of them. It's clear to me that they are obstructing not justice, just the truth. They just continue the disinformation.
Sounds about right. So Tim says we need to slap their little fat hands. Love it. Meanwhile, Dr. Kevin Newth, if I'm saying that right, discusses USOs in dealing with government bodies.
I can say that I had, over the last year and a half, me and the UAPX team, we briefed Senator Gillibrand's team twice. We've briefed the U.S. House of Representatives Armed Services Committee. We briefed AARO, and we briefed the Department of National Intelligence. And they all asked us one question that they had in common, and it was the main question that we were asked was, what are your capabilities for observing underwater? That's what everybody wants to know. And that is clearly the most important aspect of UFOs, unidentified flying objects, that there is.
And that seems to be the case. It seems like the USOs are much more classified than the UFOs. That has always intrigued me, and it's always been unclear to me if that's because the sensor systems and that sort of thing are more classified, or if they want to hide the activity under the water more than they want to hide, or maybe are able to hide the activity in the skies. Maybe they're simply not able to hide the stuff in the skies because people can see it, but they do have the leg up in hiding the stuff under the water because you need sophisticated systems often to be able to detect that stuff. So I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think, but it's clear the government is very interested in USOs and are seeming to actively hide this stuff. Meanwhile, did you know that every time Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp release a leaked UFO video, usually from the military, that there is an official investigation? This is what Chris Sharp is reporting.
Every time they release one of these videos, they release footage. The FBI launches an investigation into them.
Really?
And there are some hostile people, let's say, who want to get them put in jail, including those within the UFO.
Like official investigation every time.
Yeah, from my understanding, yeah, they've said it themselves. Jeremy said it themselves. They're getting investigated from this stuff. So
yeah, I mean, that would definitely make me hesitate to release UFOs if every single time there would be an official FBI investigation. That would be kind of unnerving and alarming, but maybe that's the point. However, UFO Joe has a more encouraging take on it. Joe Murgia says the bigger investigation was to find out who leaked it to them, and I'm confident that occurred. Yes, Knapp and Corbell are protected by SHIELD law. Now, are there other folks, just like with Grush and the intimidation he and his wife faced outside of government, who want to mess with him? Sure. So I think that's really, really interesting. Yeah, and here's what David Haight had to say, breaking down that interview. Every time Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp release a UFO video, the FBI launches an investigation into them, said researcher Chris Sharp on the podcast. He says there are some very hostile people, let's say, who want to get them in jail. It's very, very serious. They're protected by, I think, the SHIELD laws and freedom of speech, but people are trying to get them into trouble. He added that there are lots of people making threats against Jeremy. He said, if I was Jeremy, if I was sitting on these videos, I don't think I'd be brave enough to release them. It's great that we've got someone with balls like that. Absolutely. Jeremy and George have got balls of steel, and we need people like this in this day and age when there's this official intimidation from these places like the FBI. But maybe Joe Murgia is correct in that they're more interested in ferreting out the sources of those leaks than they are specifically going after Jeremy and George. Either way, very alarming. Meanwhile, I've been hearing about this for a while now. This is a really weird story that we may be entering the end times, or at least some people think we're entering some big event in end times. Also, an apocalyptic modality also means the beginning of a new world. So don't take it too negatively, but yeah, there's a massive sacrificial altar has been built in Jerusalem to sacrifice red heifers to usher in the third temple of Solomon. The sacrifice will take place between March and April. It is rumored that the Al-Aqsa Mosque has to be destroyed to build this temple. Many Christians fear this is similar to the prophecy of the end days in the Bible. Yeah, so this is a weird story. Don't know what to make of it, but I have been hearing about this for a while. The search for the red heifers, the unblemished red heifers, that when they're sacrificed will usher in the rebuilding of the Temple of Solomon and a new age upon the earth. This is a belief by some Christians and Jews that this is a big thing that's going to occur, and now the time is right, and that maybe it will beckon the Messiah. Meanwhile, from Futurism.com, biologist says the sun may be conscious. What? Consciousness does not need to be confined to brains. A bong rip of a theory, I love that, a bong rip of a theory suggests that all matter possesses some form of mind or consciousness, not just animals, including, as one biologist suggests, the sun itself. In a fascinating dive into the hypothesis, which adherents call panpsychism, I think I got that right. Popular Mechanics reports that this out there concept has existed for thousands of years, and in its more crystallized form has been bubbling around for the last few hundred years. Consciousness does not need to be confined to brains, Sheldrake told Popular Mechanics. The link between minds and physical seems to be through rhythmic electromagnetic fields, which of course are present in our brains. They are also present in and around the sun, and these could be the interface between the solar mind and the body of the sun. To be fair, there isn't a lick of evidence to support this theory. Okay. But who knows, guys? Who knows? I reported numerous times on the UFOs that seem to come and go from the sun, and of the various pieces of evidence that suggest the sun may in fact be a portal, both to get around in this galaxy or this reality, this universe, but also potentially to go to other dimensions. Now, why do we need a portal to go to other dimensions when you can just go to Skinwalker Ranch or Sedona or, the numerous other places on this earth where there are portals? I don't know. But there are pieces of evidence to suggest that. So, interesting stuff, guys. Not only may the portal, the sun be a portal, but it may, in fact, be alive. I actually know somebody that in an out-of-body experience dealt with other dimensional beings that reside within the sun. I mean, who knows, guys? There's some wild stuff out there, some wild possibilities that exist. Meanwhile, I've previously covered the remote viewing done on Maria Orsic, a wonderful remote viewing session by the Future Forecasting Group. The most intriguing part of it, or the most impactful part of it, was Dick Algire's session, where he really connected very strongly with Maria Orsic. And she seemed to be a very, next level human being in touch with, higher powers and very much of the light. Unfortunately, the technology and the wisdom she got with through that connection was subverted by the World War II Germans, and ultimately during the invasion of Berlin, she was tragically killed by the Russians in a bad way, according to Dick Algire's viewing. Nobody else was seeing that, but Dick was having a very profound connection with her. So Michael Salla is asking the question, does that invalidate all the other stories about Maria? That she has been working with people and so on since World War II, or that she's in some other world right now. He is suggesting that no, it does not invalidate that. If Dick's session is correct, and she did die during the invasion of Berlin, then that doesn't necessarily invalidate other stories of Maria. So let's give a little listen to what Michael Salla has to say.
So that was a very sad end. Now, people will ask, well, does that mean that all these stories about Maria Orsic being part of a joint French-US secret space program aren't real? That's nonsense because she was executed. Well, this is a part of the way in which Nordics operate that needs to be understood. That when the Nordics incarnate on Earth, they incarnate in an avatar body, so that their original body, their Nordic body, is held on the spacecraft. And they go into, kind of like in what we saw in the film Avatar, something similar to that, but they go into some kind of unit, some stasis chamber, and their consciousness transfers to an avatar that has been made on Earth. And so in her case, when the Soviet soldiers executed her, her consciousness transferred back to the avatar body on the Nordic ship. So that's how you can get both stories being true, that Maria Orsic did incarnate in Germany prior to the Nazi takeover, and then she had this great struggle with Nazi German authorities, Heinrich Himmler, the Nazi SS, in terms of developing a peaceful secret space program, whereas the Nazis wanted to weaponize it. And of course, at the end of the war, she's killed, but she goes back up and she continues to teach up on these on a joint Nordic U.S. ships.
So yeah, there you go. There's one possible way it could have gone down. I have no idea, but I did have it was a very powerful experience watching Dick Algire's remote viewing session where he connected with Maria. It was very moving. You could tell he was very moved by it. And, it was a very tragic end for Maria, if his information is correct. And it did seem to kind of end the story as far as these other stories out there about Maria go. But Michael Sala is saying, not so fast, that if she was, had some Nordic DNA in her, if she was part Nordic, maybe she went up and, reincarnated or went to her new body aboard ship. So who knows, guys? I mean, who knows about any of this, but I thought it was an interesting idea and worth giving your attention. Meanwhile, since I'm about to interview Peter Maxwell Slattery in a few days, or a couple weeks rather, I thought it'd be great to give a little teaser of some of the contacts that he's having at Jaya Sanctuary with these CE5 experiments. There you can see that's the UFO right there. And he has great contact. He's this high-level experiencer. I mean, Peter has gone to like other dimensions and things. He's had 40 remote viewers remote view his experiences. There's an amazing documentary made about his experiences called Multidimensional that you can find on Amazon. Just a really, really fascinating material, guys. So Peter is great, and he's able to do these wonderful CE5 events at his Jaya Sanctuary, which I would love to go to. Of course, it's in it's in Australia, so I'm probably not going to go there tomorrow, but I would love to go there, or to ECETI Ranch that he's also affiliated with. And anyway, there you go. There's some great contacts they are having out there with Peter at Jaya. Meanwhile, this would wake you up. This is a guy going to get his coffee in the morning. Okay, you've got to hear that lion's growl. Okay, yeah.
And I just need to get to that kettle to make some coffee. That's all. But the decision is we've got a honeymoon couple in camp.
I don't think I would need any coffee after that. Meanwhile, this was sent to me by Nico. This is really interesting, from Chapman University, survey of American fears and whether people believe in, God versus aliens versus fortune tellers and psychics and so on. An interesting survey from 2018. Let's see what people believe as far as paranormal beliefs. Currently, the most common paranormal belief in the United States is that places can be haunted by spirits, followed closely by the belief that ancient advanced civilizations such as Atlantis once existed. Well, that's really encouraging. So people, over half the people surveyed believe in ghosts and also Atlantis. Well, I believe in both of those things. In fact, I've had personal experience with haunted places. That's just a thing. More than 2 out of 5 Americans believe that aliens visited Earth in our ancient past, and more than a third believe aliens are visiting now. So that's something we really have to work on, guys. We only have a little more than a third of people surveyed that believe in UFOs, or in current UFOs, that aliens or non-humans, NHI, are on Earth or are visiting Earth right now. More people believe in Atlantis than in aliens. That's crazy, guys. That is a crazy statistic. I mean, that's just nuts. That's just nuts to me. Only 17% of people believe in fortune tellers and psychics, which is unfortunate. We definitely have work to do there. Of course, there's so many fakes in that field that it's easy to see why it would get such a bad rap. And, it's, shame on you, fake psychics. Shame on you, because you have discredited a real thing. And it's just so unfortunate. A few more people believe in Bigfoot, which also seems to be a real thing. Although I have not had a Bigfoot encounter, I think I would like to have a Bigfoot encounter. There's a few scary Bigfoot stories out there that make me a little cautious about Bigfoot, but I think I would like a Bigfoot encounter. I think that'd be pretty cool. Let's see, 26% people believe in telekinesis, which I also have had some personal experience with, and that's a thing. So very interesting, very interesting. 24% had no paranormal beliefs at all. 15% only had one paranormal belief. I thought that was kind of funny. I'm only going to believe in one thing, guys. That's it. I'll believe in Bigfoot, but nothing else, or whatever, right? I thought that was kind of funny. Let's see. Only 7% of people had 6 paranormal beliefs. Less than 5 had all 7 paranormal beliefs that were measured. Really interesting survey from Chapman University. But let me know what you think about that and everything else covered today in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I'd sure appreciate it. Smash the like button and the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, links below, and Discord. Join me on Discord, trying to build that up a little bit. Let's see, if you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, please consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below. Or you can buy a book if you're a science fiction, fantasy, or horror fan. You might enjoy one of my novels. Again, see the link below. Or you can become a channel member. Channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Also, channel members frequently get to see videos hours ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.